Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We have the top link, the big giant link on Drudge Report. Get ready. Now putting hands down Flyers' pants. And Infowars.com has giant servers, but I guess having the biggest link on Drudge, I've seen that before, even shut down the Associated Press website. Infowars.com is not loading too quick. So if you want to read the story, it's up on prisonplanet.com. We're trying to do a redirect right now when the Drudge Report links to Infowars to send you to a mirror at prisonplanet.com for everybody on that front. But this story, of course, deals with Owen JJ Stone, known as the OhDoctah. He's the founder of Men's Media and OhDoctah.com. He's a speaker and commentator in the areas of social media, technology, and politics. And I came in this morning and saw a video clip of him on This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte. And I said, okay, write an article about that. That is important because I'd already seen some other newscasts, and we did a search and found more with people reporting. It's like enhanced. It's like super enhanced. If you're supposedly wearing baggy clothes now, they don't just stick their finger in. They stick their whole hand in and go around your hind end. Then they come up and grab your crotch, but from outside. And he told the story on This Week in Tech of what happened to him. And we've got him live with us here in just a moment. But I wanted to play that video clip again right now before we go to him of his testimony. And they'll have him break it down in more detail here on this syndicated broadcast. But here is Owen JJ Stone talking about what happened to him.
I'm not, because I am fundamentally opposed to the X-ray machines. And in fact, I don't know, they had recently, or is it coming up? Wednesday, November 24th, 2010 is National Opt-Out Day. Now, most people don't know, on the X-ray machines, you can always opt out. All you have to say is, I opt out, and then they give you a pat-down search.
And if we all did it,
I do that
air
all the
traffic
time,
would stop.
Well, listen.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
When I just flew here this weekend, I wore the same sweatpants I wore last week to go to L.A. This weekend when I came in, he's like, oh, they just changed the rules this week. Do you want a private screening or do you want us to pat you down out here? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, do you want us to take you in the back room or do you want us to do it out here? What does it entail? I have to go in your waistband, put my hand down your pants. I'm like, do it out here. And I stood in front of everybody, and he did it.
Wait a minute. What's the alternative? Can I go through a machine?
No, the alternative is for him to go in the back room and pat.
He's going to put his hands down your pants no matter what?
He did, yes. And I said, I'd rather have him do it out here in public, because just what Brian said. He's already ashamed to do it, and I feel like he's not going to go as deep.
When did this happen?
This weekend.
They're required to put their hands down your pants?
They just changed the rule. Well, he put his hands on his hand.
Wait a minute.
Now they grab your nuts. They don't necessarily pull it.
This is the
new TSA is that you have to get.
If you're wearing sweatpants or baggy clothing.
Oh, baggy clothing.
I was wearing sweatpants. They're not baggy. They're sweatpants. He put his hand. This is my waistband.
Because I got to tell you, if I have to get somebody's hand down my pants, I'm not flying.
Ran his hand around the ring of my waistband and then patted the front and then patted my butt and then in my crotch.
And it's all security theater. It does absolutely nothing.
That's the part that kills me. Is that for all of the federalization, for all of this giant bureaucracy, for the $5.
Let's go to Owen JJ Stone. Owen, good to have you on with us.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you. Nice to meet you. So break down your story. It is the top story now up on the Drudge Report. TSA now putting hands down Flyers' pants. And we took a short clip of you talking about it, but then added a clip from another newscast admitting it, just in case people were in denial. Because 3 weeks ago, TSA announced they would touch genitals and breast. And then when there was backlash, TSA said, we're not touching genitals. And it's just this culture of lying. But give us your take overall on what the TSA is doing, and then tell us what happened to you.
Well, first of all, in general, I fly maybe 20 to 30 times a year. So I'm a frequent flyer. I do not carry any liquids. I don't even carry deodorant. I check all of that stuff. I go to a local market and buy, like, the trial sizes. I never ship with anything at all. And I don't go through with any metal, no watches, no phone, nothing. So when I go through, I never beep. I haven't beeped in years. So, I know I fly. I don't want to get beeped. So I flew 10 days ago into L.A., wearing the same clothes. I was wearing the same sweatpants. Now, I went through, it didn't beep, but he said, oh, your sweatpants a little baggy, we're going to pat you down. They did the regular tap, tap, barely touch you, go ahead. This weekend, I fly up to San Francisco wearing the exact same outfit because I travel a lot, so I wear the same kind of clothes. So if I didn't have a problem then, I shouldn't have a problem now. And a guy comes up. They made me wait there for 10 minutes in the little box, which usually doesn't happen. You know, they come to real quick. He says, oh, we're going to take you in our private room. And I said, for what? He's like, oh, we're going to have to pat you down. I'm like, well, they always pat me down. Just pat me down right here. He's like, oh, I'm going to have to go inside of your pants. I'm like, what? He's like, I have to, it's a new rule. It's a different kind of search. So I was like, well, what are my options? You know, and he said, well, I could pat you down out here, or I could do it in a private room. He's like, you probably prefer a private room. And I looked at him like, there's no way I'm going anywhere. All my stuff's here. You know, I travel with electrical equipment. I'm not packing up all my stuff at all. I'll do it right here. I'm not going anywhere. So he got down on his knees, and he started patting me down the regular way. Then he said, okay, now I'm going to stick my hand down your pants. And literally to his wrist, his hand went in my waistband, around my crotch, around my butt twice. Then he went on the outside pat down on front and back, and then he put his hand back down in front of my pants to, like, grab at my crotch, like the feel in between my legs.
Excuse me. The hand was inside on your crotch.
Yeah, I had not inside my underwear, but inside my pants.
Oh my God!
Like he was feeling the front of my thighs, and the whole time the guy's saying, "I'm sorry." I'm a fairly big guy. I'm overweight, and I'm like 6 foot tall, and he was like 5'4" maybe, and he had like the fear in him because I was just hot. And so he just, I'm so sorry, and I'm just thinking, what would happen if you took me in a room? You know, because he was already embarrassed to do it. You know, apparently, you know, they just changed the rules, so he hasn't had weeks of time doing this or practicing or, you know, have his mind set on, hey, this is what I do. So he was embarrassed to do it and apologetic to do it. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to start wearing, like Speedos or something to go to the airport so they know that I'm not carrying anything. I don't know. I don't know how women are going to put up with it. I have no clue.
Well, you teach your children, don't let strangers touch you. And now, 3 weeks ago, I was at an airport in California, and I watched nothing but women and children put through for some reason in the 4 scanners. Then they would call them out and touch between their legs, touch their breast. I saw this being done to babies and baby carriages.
My daughter's...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My daughter's 3 years old, and I will not take her flying anywhere until she's at least 4 or 5. So if anything happens like that, she can explain to me what's going on or you know, how she's feeling, because I see that kind of stuff happen with kids, and people are like, oh, bring your daughter. I'm like, I don't take my daughter anywhere that I can't drive because I'm not going to have someone else putting their hands on my child. Like, I don't even know, like, I heard the clip earlier, and it enraged my heart. I don't know how someone can stand there and let their child scream and be violated by a stranger. Who knows what that's going to do to that child? It won't happen to my child. I can't imagine.
But if they can get away with this, Owen, they can get away with anything. I mean, clearly this is being done to train us and condition us to have the government in our business, the government putting their hands on our bodies. Are you aware of the fact that TSA, for at least 5-6 years, but now they're expanding it, has Viper teams is what they call them, and mobile vans and mobile body scanners, not just in federal and state courthouses, and that they're openly announcing they want to put them in malls, and just everywhere you go, there'll be federal goons outside their jurisdiction randomly searching us. Then, meanwhile, the southern border's wide open?
I heard about that, and I firmly believe it now because I think that this pat-down, this invasive pat-down, is just a step to scare people. So the normal pat-down didn't make people think, oh, well, I'll go through these X-ray machines and get radiation that I don't know anything about. I mean, when I go to the doctor, the dentist, people put metal plates on my chest to protect me from radiation. So you want me to go stand in a machine that X-rays me naked and keeps a copy of it? Oh, but the people will fight that. So what do? We grab their breasts, we grab their genitals, and everyone will say, oh, I'd rather have the machine. They can make millions of dollars off these machines. It's a scare tactic to get people to use those machines instead of being violated personally. And you're still being violated because I don't trust people. I don't trust you, Alex. I just met you 5 minutes ago. I'm not going to give you access to something of mine just to say, oh, you're going to take care of that? Who can trust anybody? So you trust that they're going to delete your picture of your breasts or your genitals? no matter who you are. I mean, there's
by the way, it's now come out on Gizmodo today through a FOIA request that the 35,000 images at one federal courthouse in Florida, they released hundreds of them, and it shows that they were saving them. They were making jokes about it. They've been caught in England saving them as well. So they have now been caught red-handed doing this, and they also have all of these major scientific bodies, including groups in the federal government, saying that there is a danger of radiation in these scanners. And then Janet Napolitano comes out and says, this is not invasive, the pat-downs, when it clearly is. B, there's no danger from the radiation. C, we're not saving the images, and the machines can't save the images. When we have the owner's manual, I wrote about this a year and a half ago at prisonplanet.com, where they admit they save the images. I mean, this is insane. And now they've announced they want to start saving the scan to use it as biometrics to identify, just like they can scan your retina or your face or your thumb, to scan your whole body. That's a market watch.
I'll never go through one of those machines. If they ever want to pat me down, I'll have them do it in public. Because, again, when other people see what's going on, and if somebody gets a little too frisky, then they're obligated to calm down because people are in the view. If you wanted to take me in a back room, why would they even give me that option? If you're not doing anything wrong, why not do it out here? Why say, do you want to go in a private room? Why do I need to go in a private room? We about to make love? We got cigarettes and candles back there? There's no reason for you to do that. And again, it's a scare tactic because once you go in that room, I'm in a tiny little box. And I start feeling nervous about what's going on when I got 2 or 3 men looking at me while another guy's touching me. It's a scare tactic to sell these machines. And then, Lord knows, like you said, with all that information, what are they going to do with the machine? And radiation. I can't believe that somebody would say, oh, there's no radiation. How long have the machines been out? Oh, did they do a 20-year study? Do they know? I don't think so.
Well,
how are you just going to tell me?
Well, let's expand on that. You and I and many others, months ago, I'd said on air, clearly they're going to enhance pat-downs to intimidate you to make you use the machines. Then the TSA admittedly told Atlantic Monthly and other major publications in the last 2 weeks that, we're not worried about the enhanced pat-downs because nobody's going to go for them. This is meant to make you go through the machine. So they admit this has nothing to do with terrorism. Just what you said, they're trying to intimidate you to go through the machines. And then it turns out Alphonse D'Amato, the former senator, a lobbyist, and Chertoff, the former head of Homeland Security, Chertoff 2.5 years ago made the first order for several $1 billion of the machines. Then he leaves office and goes and becomes the CEO of the company. And he consults for the other company. I mean, that's illegal. He makes the order for the machines, then he goes and gets the job as the head of the company. Is that not a payoff?
It has to be. It has to be. The funny thing that kills me about whenever someone brings up terrorism at airports, I say no one in the government cares about terrorism at airports. Okay, I fly all the time. LAX, one of the biggest airports in the world. You know what stops you from running onto the tarmac and throwing up a grenade or a bomb or an automatic weapon and shooting down a plane when it goes to land or takes off? A chain link fence. And they've got, 30 cop cars and squad cars checking underneath your car for bombs because, a terrorist is going to put a bomb underneath his car and drive into the airport because
no,
exactly
this is police state training. Exactly.
They don't want to stop anything. If they wanted to stop it, they would have protection all around the airport. There's no protection.
Well, Owen, it came out last week on ABC News that illegal aliens can walk right in and rent aircraft for training, and the TSA gives them waivers and no security background check. Anybody who had a truck bomb could just drive into the cargo area with no checkpoints and drive right up to the fence and blow it up. Absolutely. They are training the public when you pull up in front of the airport and when you go into the airport to be a slave, to be searched, to be checked, to have your genitals groped, to have your hind end grabbed, to have your wife's breast grabbed, to have your children grabbed. For police state America. That's all this is dog training.
Well, somebody's going to have to get an electronic leash on because that's what they want us to do. I mean, again, if it was all about terrorism, there's so many things that this country could do besides fighting wars in other countries to build up our own defenses here at home. I don't care about the rest of the world. I care about home. And apparently you don't have enough guards on duty to protect us at home. That tells me that you don't care about terrorists. It's just like the war on drugs. You say something, everybody claps, and then they put their head down and forget about it. Well, this airplane stuff, there's going to be women that have been sexually molested, have been violated in their lives, that are going to freak out if another woman or someone tries to put their hands on them, because it's very invasive. Like, again, I'm sitting there as a grown man thinking, well, what happens if I get excited? This guy's grabbing off all my stuff. What am I supposed to do? I mean, whose job is it that they think that they could just do that and it'd be okay? I mean, from a week ago, they train you in a week and say, okay, now you're going to start lifting up genitals and grabbing butts and putting your hands in people's pants 30, 40, 100, 2,000 times a day. And who says okay to that? What kind of person are you? That's what you want to do. You want to touch children. You want to touch old women or men. I mean, or look at naked pictures of people that you have no idea who they are all day.
Well, that was my next question. That was my next question. Is who wants this job? I mean, you said this guy kept apologizing to you because he knows it's wrong. Even a big brother says it's right to have his hand down in your pants, on your underwear, on the front of your underwear. I mean, describe that. What did he do to your junk?
His hand was flat, and basically, like, the first one did the ring around, where he just ran his hand around my waist and around my hip. So just like if you put your hand on your thigh and you rubbed your thigh, hand flat, that's just what he did. Then when he went and put his hands in my butt, he put his hands in, and then he patted it. He patted my butt, like underneath my butt.
Like you were his wife.
Yes, like that, kind of like.
Hey, baby,
like that,
how you doing there?
Exactly. Two pats, and then when he went back in the front, he did the same thing. Like he patted in between my crotch, right around my area.
Let's be specific. You're saying he patted on your underwear, your testicles.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I apologize to radio listeners. We don't normally get into these type of things, but we have to talk about it when the government.
I don't even want to say it. That's how embarrassing it is. Because even when I was on Leo's show, when I said, I was like, he was like, he freaked out. Like, you touched your private. I was like, yes. And I don't. Who wants to even say it? Let alone have it done to you.
What do you think about your story now being the top link on Drudge Report?
Well, at least people know about it, so I'm happy about that because I was blown away. I almost freaked out because I told the guy 3 times, I'm like, I just flew 5 days ago. I'm wearing the exact same clothes. I'm thinking, what is the difference between then and now? I wish I would have known. I would have worn different clothes. I would dress more appropriately. I had another flight to come home. I wore a short and a T-shirt.
Tell you what, stay there. Let's come right back and finish up your story. It doesn't matter. They're always adding more, training us, seeing what they can get away with.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man.
He's known as the OhDoctah.
To be the sad man.
Briefly, tell us a little bit about yourself, Owen JJ Stone, and your website, what you work on, dealing with tech stuff. And then let's get back into the points you were trying to finish up before we went to break.
Long story short, on the business end, I run Inquiring Minds Media, and we do consulting and web design and strategy for the internet, social campaigns, the Facebook, the Twitter, promoting people and such. I also do OhDoctah.com, where I do interviews, live Q&A sessions every Wednesday where I have guests on and people can ask them questions about their industry or their profession. And that's pretty much it. So I'm all over the web, and I'm into the tech space, getting on fun shows and having a good time. That's why something like this, again, when you said earlier, like, who wants to talk about it? I mean, it's embarrassing, but if you don't say it, then people won't know about it. That's why I'm happy that it is on the Drudge Report right now and that people are talking about it, that I got to say it on Leo's show, and listeners are aware. I mean, Leo's about to go fly to Paris. He took me aside and said, are you serious? I'm like, yes, they do that stuff. So it's nice that the awareness is getting around about it.
I see this as a historical revolt, though, because there was already simmering anger over the TSA and the humiliation and the slave training. But now that they're trying to intensify it and more people are going public, the mainstream media is going from making fun of people that criticize it to Time Magazine headline, "Everybody hates the TSA." The Chicago Tribune, "Government in your pants." Forbes magazine, abolish the TSA. I mean, this is a complete rout of these people. And Big Sis is like, okay, we won't search the pilots. Okay, we won't search kids. But I guarantee you in a few months, she's going to come back and try to put it back in place because bullies want to dominate. They want to set that precedent.
Well, I'm just waiting for all of these mainstream media pundits and people that get paid to say what they're supposed to say, the monkeys in the media, to get searched. You know, I want an anchor man or anchor woman to go through on one of their business trips and have someone put their hand down their pants or feel them up, and then see how they feel. And then see how comfortable they feel reading some crap from a teleprompter to the American public. Because until it happens to you, it's easy to say, oh, it's not a big deal. It's about our security. Well, if they wanted security, I'd see gun turns all around the airport. That would make me feel secure. Not a dog and a van with a mirror looking underneath my car when I go to the airport. They don't care about your security. They care about these machines and making this money. And in the airport, as soon as they get you accustomed to it, they are going to put them in schools. You know, because so many kids shoot kids at school. And it happens, and it's terrible, and it's bad. But that's not a terroristic plague on my country.
Look, they're teaching you that you are the enemy. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, we're the problem, even though they can't protect us in our own country and state. But we're the problem.
It's a power grab. It's a power grab, you know, simply put. What would you like to see happen with the TSA?
I would like something like more sophisticated besides the X-ray machine that showed my body part. Why don't they have something that really just does a metal detection scan? I mean, if that kid that went through there, obviously, what did they have on them that set off the metal detector twice? It's a child. Okay, do they have a belt on? Why aren't you making more sophisticated metal detectors? You know, I just don't understand why you need to see people naked, look through their clothing, or violate them and touch them in places that you're not supposed to touch them. And again, you should never, ever, ever be asked to take that screening in private. Because if you can't do it in public, then that means there's something wrong with it. If you can't do that in front of the hundreds of other people standing behind me, then there's something wrong with that. And that's where the procedure needs to change to start with. There should never be a private screening because it shouldn't be anything that violates my well-being or the way I feel about myself. But that's not going to happen.
Very well said. Very well said, Owen. Owen, we're going to break. You got anything else you want to add, or is that it?
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate you. And everybody, fly.
I'll tell you what, stay there. Stay there. I want you to finish up.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We're going to continue with your phone calls, get into the economic news, the police state news. They're trying to pass legislation to basically ban family farms and ranches without all these special new fees and fines. That's coming up. That bill's very close to passing again. Senate Bill S-1050, Food Safety Modernization Act, vote imminent, would outlaw gardening and saving seeds. You can't make this stuff up. It's actually in the bill. You got kids having the police called on them for selling cupcakes. Little girls can't have a lemonade stand. All over the country, kids can't have American flags because the illegal aliens hate the country so much that they demand the flags be taken down, and the teachers agree the flags are removed. This country's a joke. And as citizens, we better get mad and get angry. We do need to add to Paul Joseph Watson's article that's on prisonplanet.com, top linked on Drudge. Drudge was crashing InfoWars, so we made it redirect to a Prison Planet mirror of the same article. We have an ad server on InfoWars. It's always causing problems. It doesn't do it on Prison Planet, so we linked over there. But we need to update this and say that we've now interviewed Owen JJ Stone, a.k.a. the OhDoctah, because now he's, like he said on the show, he didn't want to get into detail, but it was worse that they actually patted. Patted is, they didn't just touch his rear end, they patted it. Like, hey, baby, get on in there. And they put the hand in the front and gave a little pat. I mean, and he said the guy was apologizing. Well, obviously he's apologizing. He knows it's wrong. Why does he have this job then, Owen?
I have no idea why he has that job. Again, in my mind, regular, normal human beings don't have this job. And the one thing that you asked me earlier, what I wanted to end with, is that I'm actually happy that this happened because most of the country and most of the world anymore is pacified by things. And one of the things you don't mess with is children and your personal privacy. And nothing gets more personal. People tap phones, all that kind of stuff. Everything goes on. Nothing gets more personal than pictures of your naked body showing up somewhere. Nothing gets more personal than another adult touching you in a way that you don't want them touched, and especially when it happens to children. So go ahead and put these X-ray machines in. Go ahead and put them in schools. And that will finally set some people off to do something, because this is outrageous, and it's egregious. I mean, at the end of the day, who wants someone else looking at them when they don't give them permission to do it? No one. No one does. No one wants it. And for it to happen in schools, who's looking at all these pictures, all these images? Pedophiles. If I was a pedophile, why not sign up for a job?
Well, hey, remember Pennsylvania and where the school was recording thousands of images of the laptops while the kids were at home dressing and undressing and in their own beds, and the school thought it was so normal, they went public. They were the ones that told on themselves.
Yep. And so what do people say? Oh, well, that doesn't happen when you tell somebody that story. When it's actual fact, and when it becomes well-known and spread, everyone will understand that it's wrong and it's violating people's privacy. And my friend keeps messaging me because he's a long-time listener to your show, and he said, can he get a well-dressed man to escort him around the TSA so that he can get in and out of his flights? Because apparently if you have a government official with you, you can get past anything, and who knows what somebody's doing. I wonder if they're going to pat down. Yeah,
your friend's bringing up Muttalib, the underwear bomber. We had several witnesses who were on the plane from Amsterdam. He didn't have his passport, didn't even have his ID, and a well-dressed man, obviously in command, got him through the scanners without scanning, got him onto the airplane, and then he was protected. And then it came out the State Department was ordered by a, quote, unnamed U.S. agency to help get the underwear bomber on the week before all the scanners arrived. They ordered him a year before that. And then right as they're about to arrive, a government stooge is protected onto the plane.
I actually believe that happened. One thing, just to corroborate some things that you bring up. Well,
hold on. Hey, Owen, you're awesome, man. You need to do a regular talk show. I guess you do. Stay there. We're going to come back, have you finish up, and I promise I'm getting to the calls and all the other news. He's the OhDoctah, Owen JJ Stone. We'll be right back. We'll tell you about his website and a lot more. He was co-hosting This Week in Tech, and the story's up on the Drudge Report about them grabbing his genitals. Stay with us.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, we're updating the story that is the top link on the Drudge Report. Get ready. Now putting hands down Flyers pants. That's what Drudge has. TSA now putting hands down Flyers pants. And as bad as the clip was that we were talking about on the syndicated radio / TV show that Owen JJ Stone was on, he came on our show and said, well, I didn't want to go all the way with it, but they actually put their hand in my pants and patted my rear end and then put their hand down my pants and patted my testicles. But no one wants to talk about this, but we have to talk about this abuse to stop it. But we were getting into the underwear bomber being led onto the plane, protected by the U.S. government. The FBI said that witnesses were liars for 2 months. Then when the Undersecretary of State got in trouble, he came out and said, okay, I was ordered to do this, so don't blame me. U.S. government ordered us to help Muttalib get on the plane. It's the same thing every single time. And you were saying that you wanted to add something to that. Owen, go ahead.
Last part of the shot. Don't want to take up too much time on your show. Whenever I talk to someone that's skeptical about what the government can do and why they would do things, I say, well, what about the Tuskegee Airmen? Did the government not do things to their own troops and people that were putting their lives on the line for their own country? Yes, they did. And they came out and they admitted it. Oh, it was wrong. We shouldn't do it. That just puts you in a mental state of what they can do. Did this government come out and tell me is there weapons of mass destruction, and then 3 or 4 years later say, oh, there's no weapons of mass destruction, but we still need to have the war anyway? I mean, there are basic lines of lies that they give you, then they apologize for later, and then people let pass under the bridge. I mean, at the bottom line, don't trust anyone. Question everything, because as soon as you start taking everything somebody feeds you, you're going to end up getting sick, because not everything is for everyone. And I appreciate you having me on the show and bringing up this topic.
Well, Owen, it's funny you brought that up, but I didn't want to bring it up just because there's so much to cover. But I was thinking the same thing 20 minutes ago. I was going to bring up the issue, and not because you're black, but because it affects us all. For 45 years, they shot black men up with syphilis to watch how it killed them and to have them spread it in the black community. Now we learn they were shooting Guatemalan men, women, and children up with syphilis. Now we learn this year that source CBS News, what they bury it in the article, the UN is going all over the world, Africa, Asia, Latin America, giving children weaponized polio, telling them it's a polio vaccine. I mean, Project Shad, tens of thousands of our troops from the 1940s right through the 1980s, declassified. They would nerve gas our troops in some cases, kill them, and tell their families they died of the flu. And they do that to create cadres, armies of doctors and scientists that will do anything crazy they're told. And that's what this TSA army's about. We've confirmed from TSA insiders that in the last couple months they call them in and they say, are you for the naked body scanners? Are you concerned about radiation? Are you concerned about touching people's genitals? And if they say, I am concerned, they're given a pink slip and laid off. So they're culling through and creating an army of pedophiles, control freaks, idiots, morons, people on power trips. They're profiling society and finding scum. Give me your view on that.
The basic point of it is that anyone that would do this, there's something wrong with that person. Because if I walk up to anyone, again, the whole color doesn't matter. Whether you're blue or yellow, who wants someone else touching their private parts, especially a stranger? You know, it'd be different if they got my uncle down there to do it, or somebody I knew for 20 years and said, hey, bring somebody else that knows, and we're going to have them pat you down. Maybe I'd feel okay with it. But for a stranger with a blue elastic glove on to put their hands anywhere near me, again, it's unsanitary, it's disgusting, it's invasive, and they usually want to take you in private to do it. And those are all kinds of signs that these people are creepy and weird. They sit behind a shielded screen. Oh, don't even talk about that. When they're doing the x-rays, their side is shielded. They've got lead protection. You know, they're sitting behind a lead wall looking at you.
That's another good point I noticed. There is some type of lead wall,
yes,
and when they run the system, they do get behind it. That's a key point I hadn't thought to talk about. There's so many facets. They're telling us it's safe, but they're hiding behind shielding.
Again, my dentist puts a metal plate on my chest and then runs into another room to click the button. These guys don't even give me a metal plate. They just run around their wall and click the button. It's not safe. People are going to have their hair falling out in 15 years, and it's not a joke. It's radiation. All I know is radiation's bad. I'm not a scientist. I'm not even that smart. But all I know is that when I go to my doctor, they put protection on me, and then they still leave the room to turn on the machine.
Well, we know top scientists have come out, the Atomic Energy Agency, they've all said these things are X-rays. They're very, very dangerous. And you've just made a lot of amazing points here. Anything else you want to add, Owen?
Just thanks for having me on the show. I'm not here to plug myself, so if somebody finds me on the internet, say hi. If you don't, have a great day.
Yeah, give us the websites again, because I guarantee you, with this up on the Drudge Report, you're going to have, a bunch of newspapers and TV, probably Good Morning America.
I had a news organization call me while I was on the line with you. I had to turn them down. I'll call them back later. The OhDoctah.com is the easiest way to get me. I'm on the internet. People can find me.
All right, we'll talk to you as this unfolds and develops. But bottom line, you did feel violated. Did you feel molested by him patting your genitals?
I felt violated. You know, if I would have felt molested, I would have punched him in the face, and I'd probably be in jail right now. Because, again, and the only reason he did that is because he was apologetic, and I had it in public. If it would have been in private, I'd probably be in a cell or something.
Did you hear about the TSA worker who they made fun of the size of his member every day, so he punched his boss in the nose, and then he got arrested?
Violation of privacy. Why am I getting punched in the face when a man's sexually harassing me, talking about my private parts to my face? Why isn't that man arrested? Why isn't he fired? Talking about my private parts, that's sexual harassment.
Well, it's more than that.
Up, Alex. got me all fired up.
Well, no, you're awesome. I look forward to having you back on. Maybe I can have you sometime on a better connection, fill in on the show, because you definitely are an informed person, and I think we're on the same page. All right. Well, thanks for coming on with us, Owen. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.